was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2009. This was a result of an elevated PSA that had spiked at 6, whereas my previous PSA had been roughly around 4. This was also brought about because I had a slight infection, and that was one of the issues that brought this to bear. My urologist felt it was necessary to have a biopsy at that time. After the biopsy, they found a small amount of cancer in one of 12 cores. It received a grade of T1C. I was given a Gleason score of 3+3, and I was told that I was an excellent candidate for surgery. This was primarily because of my age and my good health, but basically it came down to surgery or radiation, and as kind of a whisper, also active surveillance was called watchful waiting, something you might consider. At that time, my wife was very upset about this and felt that we should be looking into treatment as soon as possible. I wasn't convinced, and I wanted to do some research before we made that kind of move. So I joined a support group, then joined 2 support groups, did a lot of research on my own, and 4 months later came to the decision that active surveillance was a good path for me. And at that time, my wife also did support this decision as long as I was going to be active in it. And at that point, I enlisted the services of another doctor to get a second opinion and had a color Doppler ultrasound performed. He felt that the active surveillance was an adequate course, but he wanted to see me in about 6 months and have another one performed just to back that up, which I did. He confirmed that that second one was same diagnosis and wanted to see me on an annual basis from that point on. My urologist wanted me to have an annual biopsy because that was kind of standard of care, and I declined that. I wanted to see more evidence of some kind of progression before I went through that procedure again. And basically my PSA dropped from 6 down to the mid to high 4s and has been in that area ever since. There was a time when it rose to 5.5, at which point my urologist felt, well, maybe you should have a biopsy again, and I declined. And then in July of 2013, I went for another ultrasound, and my doctor felt that there was an area that was maybe a little suspicious, and he convinced me that I should go ahead and have what he called a targeted biopsy at that time. Now, this was a biopsy that went actually into the area that the original biopsy had found this small amount of cancer, and it was also the same area where this, as he called it, suspicious area existed. So when he did that, he took 7 core samples, sent it to the lab. Lab report came back negative. They didn't find anything anywhere. So as a backup, I took those samples and had them sent to the original lab that did my pathology report and had them look it over, and they confirmed that they couldn't find anything either, that all the core samples did not contain cancer. So from that point on, it only confirmed my resolve to be involved in active surveillance. That means PSA tests twice a year, DRE once a year. And should any of those issues change, should I have, say, 3 PSAs in a row that continually climb, or should a DRE come up with something that doesn't seem right, then I would go into a much more active mode, multi-parametric MRI, color Doppler ultrasound, and whatever else is available at that time to get a more thorough diagnosis of my situation. And should it warrant it, then I might look at some treatment at that time. However, through a major alteration in my diet, continuing my exercise, and looking for a generally healthy lifestyle, I feel that that's something that will do more to keeping the cancer in check, or in this case, potentially eliminating it, than anything else.